Hello and welcome back to GoldStockTrades.com. Today we have with us Dave Hodge. Dave is CEO of Zimtu Capital. Zimtu Capital can be traded as ZC on the TSX Venture. Thanks for being here with us today, Dave. Dave, talk to us a little bit about the unique Zimtu business model.
Well, essentially it is kind of one of a kind. It started off as a figment of my imagination, but presently, and has evolved quite a bit, presently essentially Zimtu is an opportunist. It's classified as an investment issuer on the TSX Venture Exchange, and essentially that allows us quite a bit of flexibility in the kind of business that we do. We have been very focused on property generation, and through a series of staking partners, we're fairly active in acquiring new and exciting ground and marketing that through that partnership to other junior exploration companies that are looking for an opportunity. Quite often, this results in a relatively significant share position for Zimtu. We usually get our cash back and end up with a share position in the purchasing company, and that certainly is one of our ways of increasing shareholder value at Zimtu, and the other would be more of a corporate nature in the creation of new junior exploration companies, where we create the listing either through a CPC on the Venture Exchange or through the acquisition of a shell, and marry that with a team of a new board of directors, a team of people that we have identified that would be able to work together and provide an exciting opportunity within that vehicle, often bringing the property to the equation as well. In that situation, Zimtu often ends up with a fairly large position. However, maybe with some ongoing responsibilities or obligations. Those companies often end up working out of either our Vancouver office or our Toronto office. That's essentially how the Zimtu business model is supposed to work. So we're very early stage. We give access to the investing public to a part of the whole mineral exploration system that isn't generally offered to the public, and that's that very early stage, sort of pre-IPO, and that's really the Zimtu advantage.
Dave, let's talk a little bit about one of the companies that you've taken from early stage, and they just announced significant news, financing news, Western Potash.
That's certainly one of Zimtu's little success stories. Well, one of my success stories as well, I suppose. As Zimtu, its first role was one of a true entrepreneurial spirit, in that it kind of wrote the first check, the check that allowed Western to form a company and to acquire its first property. But in Zimtu's usual style, it wanted to add more than just money to the deal. So I serve on the board of directors and have since the very beginning. And in the first year and a half, Zimtu introduced Western Potash to both the North American market and the European market. In other words, we kind of looked after their marketing for the first year and a half, and that's one of the ways that Zimtu stays involved in order to reduce the risk. But the opportunity now in Western Potash for current shareholders of, or even future shareholders of Zimtu, is very good. We have about 11 million shares out in Zimtu, and we have the upside exposure to about 5.7 million shares of Western Potash. In other words, if you bought 1,000 shares of Zimtu today, that would be the equivalent of 477 shares of Western Potash, and of course exposure to our whole portfolio. Zimtu is a great opportunity at the moment.
Let's talk about Zimtu in the Athabasca Basin.
Well, again, Zimtu likes to be at the forward edge of new opportunity, and the recent discoveries by Fission Energy and their partner in the Athabasca Basin really showed that there was tremendous opportunity there. So we had a vehicle that we had a significant interest in, and offered to help them establish themselves. They were a gold explorer in Ontario, and we offered to help establish them as a significant player in the Athabasca Basin. So we introduced Lakeland to the crew from DeRusse Geological, which essentially was the early geological crew that Fission used, including one of their board of directors, Jody DeRusse, to Lakeland. We brought, or are in the process of bringing together the current president of Strathmore, another very successful uranium company, will join the board of directors and sit as the chairman of the board. And that's a fellow by the name of Steve Kahn. We're in the process of helping them raise some money. Over the last couple of months, we've acquired, I think, 7 different uranium opportunities in the Athabasca Basin, mostly under by the suggestion of some of the DeRusse Geological or their team. We are going to pick up a couple more guys from DeRusse on the board of directors. Essentially, Zimtu is putting together a major player in the Athabasca Basin. And just because of our large portfolio, we do have exposure through a company called Canadian International, and they were a bit later to stake property in the play. But we have a significant position in that company, and are earning a significant position through the sale of actually a graphite property to a company called Pistol Bay, and they just had when they acquired the graphite property from Zimtu, of course, Zimtu earning a share position. They had in their portfolio an asset in the Athabasca Basin that was currently being drilled. So that again that just increases the exposure, and I think, as most people know, uranium exploration is highly risky and subject to a fair amount of luck as well. So having exposure through 3 different companies and having strong influence on Lakeland will help us keep the risk low for Lakeland. Chances of Zimtu being involved in a future discovery in the Athabasca Basin is very, very strong.
Dave, before we conclude, tell us about the recent company Prima Fluorspar that just IPO'd a few weeks ago.
Oh yeah, that's certainly one of my favorites. It all started. A prospector walked into my office after I had instructed our partners all across North America and Australia that we had identified fluorspar as one of the new incoming opportunities in the industrial minerals market, largely because of actions out of China. But it was quite a clear pattern that there was going to be extremely strong demand for fluorspar. And when we put it out to our staking partners, instead of 8 or 9 properties coming back, like with the graphite request, we got nothing back, except for this prospector who walked in my office and showed me this hunk of purple rock and a story about a fluorspar property in northern BC. Turned out we made that acquisition in a private company, and then, as you mentioned, arranged an RTO onto the TSX Venture Exchange, and have created a new listing in the fluorspar sector. And again, in Zimtu's style of having the experience, we were able to bring some expertise from metallurgy and including marketing. As soon as we acquired or started putting this deal together, we arranged for the Global Fluorspar Conference to be in Vancouver last year. And of course, that was sponsored both by Zimtu and by Prima Fluorspar. So introducing that company into the world of the magical world of fluorspar, and the companies involved, that certainly is one of the ways, again, that Zimtu reduces the risk. We have a very large position in this company, and if you bought 1,000 shares of Zimtu today, you'd get exposure to 656 shares of Prima Fluorspar, of course, and the Western, and on and on. Again, showing that the upside opportunity and reduced risk of Zimtu makes it a very strong buy in this market today.
Well, Dave, thanks so much for being here with us today.
No, thank you. It's always a pleasure.